Hey, and welcome into the Big Ten Huddle. Today, we're going to revisit the topic of Jim Knowles and the swirling rumors about Jim Knowles possibly going to Oklahoma. Ohio State's defensive coordinator will possibly be leaving the Buckeyes to take up the Oklahoma defensive coordinator job, if you believe the reporting from Oklahoma sites such as Sooner Scoop and other ones. There's been a lot of buzz about this, and today we're going to break down all the details. We're going to explore the origins of these rumors, Jim Knowles, the public's response, and I will give my analysis on whether or not he'll actually make the move. We did a video on this earlier, but it was something that didn't really explain the situation, so I thought we might remake a video explaining it all. So buckle up because this is going to be a wild one. So let's start by discussing who Jim Knowles is and why he's such a big deal. If you're a Big Ten football fan, you know that Jim Knowles is becoming one of the top defensive minds in all of college football. He had a good run at Duke and Oklahoma State, and now his role at Ohio State has been pivotal to the Buckeyes' success this year, going to the national championship game. Quite frankly, Ohio State would not be in the national championship game if it was not for the defense that they have. He helped transform their defense into one of the top units in the country when just a couple of years ago they were being laughed at. They were a laughingstock in 2021 because of the defense and how poor it performed. Now in 2022, they still didn't have the best performance in big games, but these rumors began circulating that Knowles might be leaving Ohio State for Oklahoma because of how good of a job he's done in 2023 and 2024. It's understandably has shook the college football world, and now these rumors seem to have come out of nowhere. But the connection to Oklahoma has sparked a lot of interest, particularly because Oklahoma is looking to rebuild its defense under Brent Venables, the defensive mastermind from Clemson. But as we all know, the rumor mill can sometimes create smoke when there is not actually any fire. Today, we're going to break down whether there's any truth behind these rumors. I'm going to give you why Jim Knowles would leave, why Jim Knowles would stay, and what Jim Knowles himself had to say about the matter. He was asked about it at the National Championship Media Days. But before we get too deep into the rumors, let's take a quick look at Jim Knowles' impressive career. He's been coaching for 37 years, and during that time, he's made a name for himself as a highly respected defensive strategist, coaching linebackers early on in his career, the head coach of Cornell. He's had successful stints at places like Duke and Oklahoma State, like I mentioned earlier, and now, of course, he is at the national championship game with Ohio State. When Knowles joined the Ohio State staff in 2022, he inherited a defense that struggled pretty much in every single game. In 2022, they continued to struggle in big games, but they are much better in other areas. But under his leadership, the Buckeyes defense has made massive strides, improving year after year after year. He's brought in a more aggressive and creative approach to their schemes, and it's paid off, especially in key matchups against top teams. For example, this season, Jim Knowles has put on a masterclass. Only one team has scored more than 17 points against this defense, and that team just so happens to be the number one team, or ranked the number one team in the country for most of the season. Really, ever since they beat Ohio State, they were ranked number one, and nobody was able to take that crown from them. Knowles' ability to adjust and prepare his players for big moments has earned him a lot of praise and made him a highly sought after coach. But as we know, hiring a coach away from one of the biggest programs and one of the biggest brands in college football is not easy. Now, considering his success at Ohio State, it's no wonder his name is popping up in rumors about other jobs. But the question is, does it make sense for him to leave Ohio State for Oklahoma? We'll get into that, but first, let's dig into why the rumor started and where the rumor first came from. First off, Oklahoma hasn't exactly been stellar in recent years. Their defense was pretty good last year, and it's actually what gave them a lot of their wins and propelled them to where they were. But so much so they were not very good that West Virginia was able to hire away that defensive coordinator, Zach Alley. They've been looking for someone who can rebuild their defense, and Knowles, given his experience in the state at Oklahoma State, seems like a logical candidate. But beyond Oklahoma's defensive needs, there are personal reasons, possibly personal reasons, fueling these rumors as well. At this point, we are talking about rumors on top of rumors, which I don't like, but if I want to give you the accurate information, I have to talk about it. The rumors on top of rumors is that Jim Knowles is engaged and his fiance is living in Oklahoma. The rumors are that she's happy there and with her family, and some people believe she doesn't want to leave the state of Oklahoma to come to Ohio. This connection has fueled the idea that Knowles could be considering a move to Oklahoma to be closer to his fiance. But here's the thing. It's not really uncommon for coaches to live apart from their families during the season and kind of spend the off season with them together, right? This is something that if you talk to college coaches and you kind of follow college coaches, you understand this happens a little bit more. In fact, many coaches and even NFL players and even some NFL coaches make this kind of arrangement work. So while the personal connection of Oklahoma is interesting, and it's not necessarily a deal breaker, I do think it needs to be mentioned if it is indeed true, but it's also something that I don't think is an end-all, be-all. Another fact to consider is that Knowles has faced some criticism from Ohio State fans. Despite the major improvements in the Buckeye defense, there have been some vocal detractors, and we've seen his family, especially his sister, Paula Knowles, get involved in social media disputes early on. However, Knowles did tell her, from what we're gathering, from what she said in other places, Knowles did tell his family, particularly her, to stay out of it and stop interacting with fans online. To me, this shows a level of maturity and focus on the job that could suggest he's not easily swayed by this fan criticism. Now, let's talk about the moment everybody's been waiting for, Jim Knowles' public response to the rumors. He was asked about the job by Brandon Marcello of CBS Sports, and after about a week and a half of speculation, Knowles was given the opportunity to publicly respond by Brandon Marcello. I don't know if he wanted the opportunity or not, but he was given the opportunity to respond about possibly leaving Ohio State for Oklahoma, and his response was pretty straightforward. He said, and I quote, "Just trying to beat Notre Dame. That's all I'm focused on." A little bit later on, he continued on by saying, "These things happen, I guess. When you have success and players are making plays, and my job is to put them in the best position. At first glance, in best position," end quote. At first glance, this comment seems like a dismissal of the rumors, right? He's clearly focused on the task at hand, wants to win a national championship, wants to put his players in the best position possible, all this stuff that you would expect a coach to say, and honestly, I mean, he's in the right mind saying that. But that's not how Oklahoma fans are interpreting this message. Things get interesting here. Some Oklahoma fans took this response as a hopeful sign because it was somewhat similar to what their previous defensive coordinator, Zach Alley, said before leaving for West Virginia. Again, leaving Oklahoma for West Virginia. That coach also gave a vague answer before bolting for the West Virginia job not long after their bowl game, where they lost to Navy. Yes, they lost to Navy. However, I don't think we can read too much into Knowles' comments, as coaches give non-answers like this all the time. Avoid getting caught up in the rumor mill. It's rare for a coach to fully shut rumors down, and even when they do, it doesn't always mean that they're staying. Think of Jim Harbaugh a year before he left from Stanford. Think of Brian Kelly before he left Notre Dame. While Knowles didn't explicitly deny the rumors, his focus on Ohio State's immediate goals seems to be genuine to me. And if you go back and watch the clip of how he said it, it seemed that way in a sense. So now it's time for the big question. Will Jim Knowles actually leave Ohio State for Oklahoma? Let's break this down. But before we do, please do like and subscribe. It helps out the channel a lot. We as Big Ten fans need more Big Ten content out there. There's a ton of SEC shows. There's a ton of things going on for them. We need more Big Ten content. I know our rivalries are strong, and it can be hard to support the conference together, but it is a great idea for the Big Ten to be the best conference like the SEC has been for, let's face it, the past 20 years. But we are changing that now. So help us get back to the top. Help us stay on top, as we have been this year, and like and subscribe. Like and subscribe to all the Big Ten shows out there. Now, back to Knowles. There are definitely some reasons why Knowles might consider leaving. For starters, Oklahoma presents a fresh challenge. Their defense is in need of a major overhaul, and as someone who's succeeded turning not programs, but defenses around, Knowles could be tempted by the opportunity to build something from the ground up. Plus the personal connection with his fiance, if that is actually true. Again, it's just rumor, but it is something that is a big talking point for a lot of fans. Her ties to Oklahoma adds a layer of complexity, but there's also compelling reasons for Knowles to stay at Ohio State. For one, Ohio State is one of the most prestigious programs in all of college football. It's one of the biggest brands. It's one of the best opportunities to coach and get your name out there and move on to bigger and better things, but there are not many more bigger and better things. With access to some of the best players and coaches in the country, not to mention Ryan Day is beginning to give Knowles more control over the staff, as we saw Day was willing to let go of the old safeties coach so that way Jim Knowles could hire his longtime assistant, Matt Guerrieri. The team essentially is operating like a professional football team at this point. You look at how the team operates with one another, how the team is working on and off the field. Although many players will be leaving after this year, Caleb Downs is quite frankly the best defensive player in all of college football. He's the best defensive player in all of college football this year and the best defensive player in all of college football returning. And he is coming back due to eligibility reasons as he's not ready for the NFL. Why would you pass up coaching the best defensive player in the country for a group of guys that lost to Navy and a bunch of transfer portal mercenaries that you didn't pick yourself? Finally, the Buckeyes are always in the hunt for a national championship, and Knowles is a key part of that equation. Knowles coming back would give him even more glory, even more prestige for what he's doing. Why leave a top-tier program for a rebuilding project at Oklahoma? This is an Oklahoma that's on the doorstep of a national championship. Another important factor is the financial side of things. And yes, this is massive. Oklahoma simply doesn't have the resources to pay Knowles what Ohio State can, or at least they haven't shown that they have the resources. At Ohio State, Knowles is the third highest paid assistant coach in the country, behind only Wink Martindale and Blake, forget his last name, from LSU. And Oklahoma's top assistants are typically paid around, their top assistant this year was paid $1.1 million, which is about half of what Jim Knowles makes now. It's possible Knowles could use these rumors as leverage for a raise, but Ohio State can easily match or exceed what Oklahoma could offer. And let's not forget, Knowles has a history of loyalty. We brought it up earlier. 37 years of college coaching. He's been at just 5 different schools in his 37-year career. He doesn't seem like a guy that's going to jump from job to job without good reason. Maybe I'll go here, maybe I'll go. That's Jed Fish type of behavior. The only time he left for a lesser program was when he moved from being Ole Miss's linebacker coach to becoming the head coach at his alma mater, Cornell, which obviously makes sense for personal reasons. If you have the opportunity to be a head coach at your old school, your alma mater, that would obviously be a huge thing for you to do. But there's no similar connection with Oklahoma. So here's my take. I don't think Jim Knowles is leaving Ohio State for Oklahoma. We made fun of the idea in the previous video, and I'm trying to be respectful in this one and offer all sides, but quite frankly, I just want to make fun of it again. The prestige, the stability, the financial resources that Ohio State has to offer far outweighs anything Oklahoma could provide. And if the best thing Oklahoma has going for him is they are the same state as his fiance, it's not close. Plus, Knowles has shown throughout his career that he values loyalty, long-term success. Moving from Ohio State to Oklahoma, where the head coach would be on the hot seat next year, just doesn't make any sense. And I know what you're going to say. Ryan Day's on the hot seat. Quite frankly, he's not anymore, and the administration never let that seem that way. Now, could there be other factors behind the scenes that we don't know about? Sure. Maybe there's something else going on we have no idea about. But based on what we know right now, it seems much more likely that Jim Knowles stays put, and I wouldn't be surprised if Ohio State makes him the highest paid assistant in all of college football this next year. And they do it just to keep him around because he's worth it that much. What do you think? Let me know. Do you believe Jim Knowles is staying at Oklahoma, or could you think Oklahoma staying at Ohio State, or do you think Oklahoma calling could lead him there? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more Big Ten football news and analysis. Yes, you too, Oklahoma fans, because I did give your side of the story as well. And if you like college basketball as well, subscribe to our basketball channel. That is also linked in the description. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.